So many want to send me the 2025 Countryman, ALL4, and I'm gonna tell you what it's like living with it for the past 7 days. The good, the bad, and everything in between. Let's get it. One thing about this car is it's actually really fun to drive. No matter how long you're driving it, you'll always be type comfortable, to be honest, because you got massaging seats. Now the downside is there's no massaging seats for the passenger and no memory seats for the passenger as well. At least the driver gets taken care of. If I had to have it anyway, I'd rather want it that way. So one other thing that you'll notice when driving this car is it's a conversation starter, a very easy one. Anytime you go somewhere, you'd be surprised at how many people are infatuated with the Mini Coopers. I mean, it's the Italian Job car. Who remembers that movie, man? It's a legendary movie, you know? So ever since then, to me, it's been on the map, right? But it's probably on the map way before then. But everybody knows this car, everybody loves this car, and the fact that this is the 2025 model year, you know, it got all the extra upgrades and understandings in the front fascia with the Botox in the face, you know, like people really want to know about it and they want to talk about it. But, oh man, how's it to drive the new Mini Cooper? How's that feel? All my neighbors ask about it. Whenever I'm out somewhere, they wanted to ask about it. Oh man, nice car, man. And this paint job is really nice on here as well with this green. So, I mean, it could be that, but it's also the looks. I mean, if people just love Mini Coopers, like Slug Bugs. For those who don't know, Slug Bug, no bags, big Volkswagen, you know, those Mini Coopers. Anytime you get those little cute, little small, little itty bitty cars, people just want to talk about it. They be like, oh man, you got that? Oh man, that's kind of crazy, man. How does it drive? How does it feel? And then a lot of times for me being 6'10", a lot of people are like, damn, how do you fit in that small car? I got more room in this car than I do have in sedans that people would think would have more room than this when they really don't. People really be shocked by that. Another thing that really stood out to me in this entire week that I've had this car is the fact that it's great on gas. 24 miles per gallon in the city, 32 on the highway. Phenomenal in my opinion, and that matters when it comes to this economy at this time and what this world is going through financially right now. It's hard on people, you know what I mean? So you definitely want to have a car that's great on gas, and you want to save as much as you can, when you can, where you can, if that makes sense. Did I say it twice? I might have. And you want to save as much as you can, when you can, where you can. Oh well, y'all get what I'm trying to say. You definitely want to save all the pennies, nickels, and dimes, and definitely dollars, and you definitely do it with the gas mileage in this car. The ambient lighting in this car is way more luxurious than the asking price that Mini is asking for this car. But to have the ambient lighting the way it is in here is top tier. And it changes with your drive modes every time you change your drive modes. Cool graphics on the infotainment screen. Speaking of the infotainment screen has a high resolution, looks very good, easy to use
once you learn it.
It's definitely got a learning curve, and it's a little bit more complicated than I think it should be or has to be. I love the way it looks, absolutely. But I don't like how intricate they made it to get to all the extra stuff, like simple things like your heated seats. You gotta go through your temperature thing, you gotta slide it up and down. Once you get it, you got it. But until you get it, you just don't got it. And it's actually a little bit overwhelming and discouraging at times because it seems like you have a really hard time finding things in there because it's so condensed. They have to find a way to make it a little bit more simple to navigate this infotainment screen, to be honest. But I do love it. I love the way it looks. I love the graphics. I love everything about the modernness of it. It's just a little bit difficult to use when you first get in the car. If you've never stepped foot in here, you're gonna have a hard time trying to figure out all the things that this infotainment screen offers because it does offer a lot. It's just not laid out in the most easiest way to understand, if that makes sense. The heads-up display is actually damn near easier to use than the infotainment screen, and that's not usually how it goes. This center console storage space, honestly, has really surprised me how much I've utilized it in the last week. Now let's talk about the storage box first. Storage box has a lid with a strap. Looks really good, and it's honestly really refined to be a Mini, let's be honest. You really do utilize all this space in the center console, making it very easy and convenient for both the driver to just store stuff and the front seat passenger. When it comes to that wireless car charger, I've utilized that a lot. Not because it charges the phone like blistering fast or anything crazy. I like it a lot because it's so sturdy. It has a little rubber mat under it. It literally has that little nose in the front of it, a little nose hook to kind of keep that thing locked in place. Because literally, if you're U-turning or busting around some corners or turns and just eating up a mountain, because I mean, you ain't gonna carve up a mountain too much in the Mini, but this is fun to drive around some turns because it's such a small car. So it's like a little fun size. You can toss that thing around, have a little bit of fun, you know, get a little extracurricular, a little understandings, get a little gymnastic, a little flexible. You get all the extras, you know, but it's not like obviously a crazy sports car. But if I just simply bend this joint around right here, my phone will lock in and stay in place with no problem at all. Now my wallet definitely slipped out of my pocket and fell down into the side, but my phone locked in and stayed in place right there on that wireless car charger. So, I mean, I like that a lot too. So both of those I've utilized a lot in the past 7 days. Another thing that you have to give this car credit for is the fact that it feels luxurious and different. When you drive this car, there's a different type of vibe. As soon as you get it on first entry, it definitely makes a first impression. Because of the ambient lighting, on top of the cloth, two-tone colored on the door panels, and then it fades back, gives you a solid color on the rear door panel, then you got the cloth in the front. It's just different. It's something you've never seen before. It's not like it's always like a Rolls Royce, it's nothing crazy like that, but it's definitely like, oh, this is different. Okay, I like this. Oh, this stands out from the herd, and God made us all uniquely different, so why wouldn't we stand out? Why try to blend in and fit in? And Mini has done a really great job of making this car stand out and be different. So I think if you like being different, you're gonna love being in this car because everything about it is different, from the infotainment screen to the switches, to how you start the car, to your heads-up display. Speaking of that heads-up display, that heads-up display is really innovative. Like, it might be one of the best heads-up displays I've seen on the market, as far as you can see your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto projecting right through the heads-up display. And it's like, honestly, it's super crispy. And look, at first, when you first get in it looks kind of gimmicky. You're like, what is this? But then you really like let that joint shoot up, and it both retracts and reappears every time you turn the car off or on. So at first, you're gonna look at it a little funny, but then after, you can be like, oh man, I actually really like this. And it makes you look at other heads-up displays and be like, oh, it's very tight phony. From the vents to the seats, everything about this car reminds you that it's just unique and different. And who doesn't want to feel unique and different? When you're spending, I don't care if it's a small amount of money, big amount of money, any kind of money in between, you don't want buyer's remorse. You want to feel like, oh yeah, this was a good buy. This is different. I like this. I'm unique with this, or I feel unique in this, or this makes me feel a unique, certain kind of particular way. And this definitely does it. Now, when it comes to trunk space, I went grocery shopping in this car. And when I tell you, it just completely caught me off guard. Like with a Mini Cooper, I think if it didn't have no trunk space, you'd be like, oh, it's a Mini Cooper. How much trunk space do you expect it to have? But when you get the Mini Cooper and you like, whoa, this is actually a lot of trunk space. The top part of the trunk, when you first open the tailgate, don't get me wrong, it's pretty good trunk space. It's decent for this car. But I did not anticipate using all of that underground floorboard trunk space under the floorboard when I got this car. And then even when I knew it was on there, I was like, damn, that's pretty good. But I didn't anticipate using as much as I have. Grocery shopping and different things like that in this car. And I just had to mention that for the people who probably were asleep on that or didn't know that or on the fence about buying this. That would be like a thing for you, or you would be like, oh, okay, after living with it for a while, you're like, oh, this is actually pretty legendary. The backseat space in this joint is a bit tight. I'm not gonna lie, that joint different. Now I am 6'10", but I can definitely fit in the front seat with my leg rooms, knees locked straight in place. If I put my foot in between the gas and brake pedal, and I'm just fine, I promise you. Headroom is abundant here, obviously, as you can tell. The backseat space though, with me sitting in the front seat, when somebody's sitting behind me, it's pretty much non-existent. It's a sports car back there behind me. But if you're a regular size height human being, I think you can fit a 5'10" person in the front and a 5'10" person in the back, easy, just fine. Maybe even 6 foot, maybe 6'1", maybe 6, I don't know. I haven't been that height in a very long time. So I can only tell you from the perspective of a 6'10" person. A 6'10" person can't sit behind me. I tried, it didn't work. But in the front, I can definitely get jiggy with it for sure. Long road trips, short road trips, everything in between, I can do it just fine in this car, 6'10", driving. Just not in the back seat with me driving, if that makes sense. Now, that's my thoughts of what it's like living with the Mini Coupe Countryman S ALL4 in the past week that I've had it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up. Make sure y'all check out the 5-minute reviews, and make sure you follow me on my wife's YouTube channel, Love and Slim. Link is in the description below. Until then, see you in the next one. You dig?